Aging is biochemical triage when the body is losing more minerals than the body has the ability to absorb. So I'm going to end this right now. Actually, no, I'm not going to end it. Hopefully this will stay on. Okay, so what is aging? Aging is biochemical triage. What that is when the body is losing more minerals than the body has the ability to absorb. So how is it losing more minerals? Because it steals from the parts of your body that already has the minerals reserved. And even though you're taking in minerals and nutrients, the body actually is losing more than its ability to actually put on reserve. And that is the aging process. So when you are in a boat with a slow leak, aging is basically in a boat with a slow leak, and you're taking on water and it eventually will sink. Okay? It doesn't happen like, it's not like a huge hole where the boat just sinks. No, it's like little tiny holes in a boat. And over time, it takes on water, because this is the analogy. Over time, when a boat has little mini holes taking on water, eventually the boat sinks. So same thing with the human body in the matrix. When the body goes through all the different homeostasis interruptions from the different fluctuations of the environment, the body then either will take on the minerals and put them in reserve. And over time, you guys do, during your peak performance in your life, when you are developing and in your 20s and 30s, if you're relatively healthy, you will put on reserves, mineral reserves. What happens is that your body then over time starts getting holes in the body of your boat. Okay, tiny holes. And so you start leaking minerals. And whenever you're taking in foods, whatever they are, whether it's processed foods or whole foods, whenever you're taking them in, they're not being absorbed correctly. And so you still have a expellation process, a process that expels the excess, but you're not absorbing. So you're actually wasting the food that you're eating, because it's ending up either stored in your poop tank or it's being excreted from the body, and you're not getting really a benefit over the long period. So that's the aging process. And then what happens is you sustain weaknesses in your heart and your head and your brain and your liver and your kidneys, and the body then has to then go take reserves to keep it going. So yeah, so aging is the biochemical triage when the body is losing more minerals than the body has the ability to absorb. And it's like, I know there has to be a formula for that, what aging is. Okay, because there's a formula for death for people who are applying the antibiotic-probiotic method. But there is a formula that I must, okay, so aging equals it is when the, is there a symbol for losing? Plus sign, minus sign, asterisk, times, multiplication, division, period, power, square root, fourth root, percent per mile per billion, angle. I'm looking at my mathematical symbols and what they mean. Variable, approximately equal, much less than. Aging is when you say, aging is when you have minerals that are less than, what are they less than? No, someone takes some more minerals and they're still losing it. So there has to be a symbol for something that is causing something to lose something. Determinate probability function, conditional expectation, variance, covariance, standard deviation, median, sample, standard. What I'm trying to do is create a formula for this specific sentence. I got to find a symbol, a universal symbol that actually I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Okay. There is a symbol for something when it loses more than its ability to absorb. You know, and this is the thing, is how do you find symbols that talk about losing when you're losing more than you're absorbing? Mathematical or equation symbols. Equation symbols for losing more than you absorb. What is the second law of thermodynamics state? Oh, here we go. This is the second law of thermodynamics state. So there is actual, okay. The second law of thermodynamics state. Okay, guys, now we're getting into this fancy schmancy stuff. Energy is the ability to bring about change or to do work. The second law of thermodynamics state that in all energy exchanges, if no energy enters or leaves the system, the potential energy of the state will always be less than the initial state. That is commonly referred to as entropy. If no energy enters or leaves the system, if no energy enters or it leaves the system, the potential energy of the state will always be less than the initial state. We just hit the jackpot. Holy crap. Here we go. The second law of thermodynamics. See, these are the questions you have to ask. The second law of thermodynamics. Here we go. That's what aging is. This is the second law of thermodynamics. Control V. What does the second law of thermodynamics state? Energy is the ability to bring about change or to do work. The second law of thermodynamics states that in all energy exchange, if no energy enters or leaves the system, the potential energy of the state will always be less than that of the initial state. This is commonly referred to as entropy. So death and chaos is basically entropy. Entropy is then the gradual degradation of your body. So when you guys are having a bunch of sex and you're running up and down mountains and getting on your bicycle and you're running here and there and you're trying to keep an active lifestyle because you've been taught that you have to be always busy and always productive and always doing something, and then you're eating and then you don't have the gut to be able to absorb maximum amount of nutrition and minerals, or you're storing minerals in your shit tank, of which then you see dad bods, because dad bods are when you have the belly, and then of course you're going to try to work out and work off the dad bod, but then you're losing minerals in the meantime, creating lactic acid, which then creates damage to your muscles and damage to all the different organs, and then the body then goes and steals minerals because you're not absorbing, because you're not healing the weaknesses, and then guess what? You are now then in the second law of thermodynamic state. Holy shit, I just discovered this right now. The second, and that's what entropy is. Now, we used the word entropy way back in the beginning when I did the substantiation to the Ohio Attorney General, when they wanted me to go and substantiate all of my claims. And we did talk about like death and chaos, or entropy, and then life and order, and how the jelly juice has you, jump from death and chaos and entropy to then life and order, where you're not on a gradual degradation. Now you're finally in like a life trajectory instead of a death trajectory. So entropy was a word, but I never really took that to an actual chemical point of view. Okay. And then I'm like, there has to be some kind of law or some kind of, because I'm trying to create, formulas and stuff. So I have something like this, which has helped me make my, this is, mathematical symbols and stuff. And it's like, it also has other symbols for other types of like chemical equations. So then I created this. But now when we talk about the aging process, where we're stealing from Peter to pay Paul, and that's why you guys are aging and why you guys are getting older and you're getting gray hair and you're getting a dad bod and you're getting the gray mustache, or you're balding, or you're finding that your eyesight and your ear sight and your whole body is just degrading. Well, it's because your body is still going through your daily life. You haven't changed your life, but you haven't fixed the weaknesses in your digestive system. And so what happens is that you're taking in food, the same food that you've always eaten. Maybe you've changed a little bit. Maybe you starve yourself now more because you're getting away from the processed food and going towards a vegan and vegetarian, and then you're working out more. And then guess what? You're weakening your already sustained weaknesses. And then you have the leaky gut. So you're not absorbing the nutrition in your food supply. And then the body starts taking from your reserves. And so that is the second law of thermodynamics, where it is in all energy exchanges, if no energy enters or leaves the system, the potential energy of the state will always be less than of the initial state. And so that's what I'm saying, you guys, if you guys are not going to do jelly juice, then you need to slow the F down. Stop living the high octane lifestyle. All of your partying and bumping around all over the universe, and you're working out, and your bicycle and your marathons and your activism is taking up your resources. And so you're putting more mileage on a car that has a life expectancy. Okay. And so then we said, then I talk about biochemical triage, because I put on my wall here, aging is biochemical triage. And then the rest of it is when the body is losing more minerals and the body has the ability to absorb, and then taking it to the next level is the second law of thermodynamics. If you're not absorbing any energy, if you're not taking in energy, or you're not absorbing the energy, now what is it? Now I gotta memorize this. If no energy enters, or if it leaves the system, the potential energy of the state will always be less than that of the initial state. So I got to write this down because I've got to memorize this. Okay, so this is the second law of thermodynamics. Jesus, second law of thermodynamics. And I get all these revelations when I speak to you guys, because I hear myself. And then I start doing research, and I have all my different resources like right in front of me. And then I go onto the internet to also ask questions to Google. And then it actually gives me what I want, because I have a very specific question that actually fits in with physics and chemistry and biochemistry and math and calculus and all that stuff. So second law of thermodynamics is in all energy exchanges. Okay, so in all energy exchanges, if no energy enters, okay, so if no energy enters or leaves or leaves the system, the potential energy of the state will always be less than, will always be less than of the initial state, also known as entropy or death and aging. Aging is the second law of thermodynamics, you guys. Now, those of you who are science-minded, you'll get this. Those of you who are not, you now have to go and try to figure this out. So aging actually equals the second law of thermodynamics when it comes to your leaky gut. Because when you have leaky gut, you're not sustaining, or you're not absorbing the minerals, the nutrients to keep you going. And so you're in this process of decline. And then you see it in dad bods. You see it in people with gray hair, balding hair, receding hairlines. You see people aging. And the more they keep doing the activism and living that high octane lifestyle and being all political, you are now contributing to the second law of thermodynamics. If no energy enters because you're still dealing with leaky gut and you're not doing the J juice, or leaves the system because you haven't fixed your leaky gut, and so whatever food you're bringing in is escaping the body's ability to absorb and then put aside the mineral reserves, the potential energy of the state will always be less than of the initial state, also known as entropy. Okay? Aging is the second law of thermodynamics. So aging is biochemical triage, but that's actually, biochemical triage can also be used in the healing process too. So aging is not biochemical triage. That's just my perspective, but it also, biochemical triage can be used in the healing side. So I'm going to correct that. But aging is the second law of thermodynamics. Okay? So I'm going to think about this for a minute. And that also has to do with relationships. When nobody gives anything to the relationship, there is no relationship because there's no energy exchange. So there's no relationship. Okay? So, okay. And so what happens is that, but there is more aging. So aging is second law of thermodynamics. And then in that context, biochemical triage happens. It means that since you're not absorbing the food and the minerals that's in your food at the maximum level to be able to strengthen your weaknesses, the body is then stealing from Peter to pay Paul, which means that's why your hair grows gray, because all the minerals that are in your colorful hair, whether it's blonde, black, or brown, or red, when it starts turning white or silver or gray, then the body is leaching those minerals to then keep your heart going, to keep your lungs going, to keep your brain going, to keep your liver and your kidneys going. And then you start seeing other minerals being depleted from your hair, skin, and nails, and from your eyes, and from your ears. So all your other systems are now being robbed to keep your main vital organs going. And so that's like a biochemical triage, okay? Because it's going to then prioritize, what vital organ has to be taken care of first based upon severity of issues, severity of weakness. And so when someone dies of a stroke or a heart attack, it's because they have a weakness and they don't have enough resources. So they have a weakness in their heart and in their brain, or they have an imbalance of acids like lactic acid, and it built up in their body and it went to the brain and they have a weakness. And then when you don't have enough mineral reserves and nutrition to be able to keep you going, and the body is trying to steal Peter from pay Paul type of thing, that's when people die of heart attacks and strokes. And so some people look perfectly normal, they look great, but they had a high octane lifestyle. They haven't been taking in the minerals. Well, they do take in minerals, but their body can't absorb it. So just because you changed your diet, just because you're taking all your supplements, just because you're doing liquid jelly juice in very minimal levels, doesn't mean that you have built up your mineral reserves. Now, those that are doing J juice, will definitely, if they keep doing J-juice, will definitely have a better chance to survive their symptoms if they still have weaknesses. But those that are not doing J-juice, you have no idea how many mineral reserves you have available to you if you have weaknesses in your vital organs. And this is when people die and they drop dead out of nowhere. People just like, what the hell? They were perfectly healthy, or they were a drug addict and they just died in their sleep because they had a heart attack and they didn't survive it. Okay, so aging is really the second law of thermodynamics. You guys just saw it right now. Oh my God. Because I didn't know there was an actual like a chemistry physics name for it. And there is. Oh my God. Holy crap. Okay. All right. I'm going to go sit on that for a minute while I do something else. But there you go. There's my research. Everybody can see it. Bye.